Now available on Lulu. John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the first John Haynes comic at lulu.com today. Social justice warriors are extremely upset over the death of Kamala Kahn. Now, Kamala Kahn is a Pakistani Muslim character who took over the mantle of Ms. Marvel after her idol, Carol Danvers, decided to take the title of Captain Marvel. And the Kamala Kahn, Ms. Marvel, was not a very popular character outside of Marvel being able to say that she adds to the so-called diversity at Marvel Comics by representing Pakistani Muslims and being their representative of a Pakistani Muslim superhero. And most of the people who are out here upset over the passing of Kamala Kahn in Amazing Spider-Man 26, they aren't really comic fans, and they really do not understand the business of comics or the paradigm of comic book storytelling. Now, I have been a comic fan ever since I was 4 years old in about 1978, and I have been reading comics for over 30 years, and I see no real reason to get upset about the death of Kamala Kahn, because every character in the Marvel Universe has basically lost their life at least 2 to 3 times over the course of the last 35 to 40 years. And I can remember the first big major deaths of characters like Gwen Stacy back in the 70s, and the death of Jean Grey in the early 80s. Not to mention, I read all about the death of the entire Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy in the Korvac saga back when I was reading the books in my brother's collection, and death is nothing in Marvel Comics, and it has not been anything in Marvel Comics for over 30 years to really get upset about. Because in the days when I was reading comics in the late 70s and early 80s, death at one time was a major thing, like in the case of the death of Gwen Stacy or the death of Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. Those were deaths that had an emotional impact because during that time, Marvel editorial basically saw the death of a character as something that was a significant event, and it saw it as something that showed that life was basically precious in the world of superheroes. And because people saw death as something major in comics from the 70s to about 1986, death resonated as related to comic fans. But after the resurrection of Jean Grey back in, I believe, about 1986, that's when people stopped taking death seriously in comics, because once Jean Grey basically came back from the dead, that's when death didn't mean anything at that point, and death went from being a close to a character story to it winding up basically turning into a gimmick that many comic companies use to quickly generate sales and a plot device to get themselves out of a terrible storyline. So these days, death does not have the same emotional impact or emotional resonance that it did when I was reading comics in the late 70s and 80s. It doesn't have that same resonance, and there's no reason to get upset over the death of a character when characters basically die almost every couple of years, and the only thing that comes out of it are a couple of bucks from many people speculating on collecting that comic, and many of these comic companies basically getting you to go out here and buy what is believed to be a collector's item that means nothing at the end of the day when that character is announced to have come back to life. So many of the social justice warriors really do not understand the dynamics of comic storytelling, nor do they know that sometimes what they do in editorial is try to find a way to revive a character that isn't getting over in order to try to get this character to start building some momentum. Now, the Kamala Kahn Ms. Marvel came out to a lot of fanfare, and she got a lot of people to go out here and click on the clickbait articles regarding her. However, Kamala Kahn, from a business perspective, really did not sell a lot of comic books as related to her multiple runs, and even after, I believe, 4 to 5 reboots, the character just has not gotten over with comic fans to build a considerable base that would go out here and generate sales. And sales is the big thing that is related to a comic character, not their so-called representation. And this character of Kamala Kahn has not proven to be a character that Marvel can go out here and get sales from, no matter how many social justice warriors get on Twitter. Many of those individuals who go on Twitter talking about Kamala Kahn do not head to the comic shop to pick up a Kamala Kahn Ms. Marvel comic, nor do these individuals head over to places like Amazon to pick up digital copies. And a publisher can only go out here and produce and publish comics that generate sales. And if a character isn't generating sales, then a publisher has to go out here and find a way to either find a way to get this character over, or they need to go out here and cut ties with that character. And with Kamala Kahn, I believe she got a lot more passes than many other characters out here. I mean, Kamala Kahn, as I see it, has gotten a lot of passes because many comic characters, after one run, wind up with their books canceled. And once their books are canceled, we don't get to see that character ever again. That's what happened to a lot of great characters in the 70s, like Richard Rider's Nova and many other characters. They started out getting books, and then their book basically ended because of poor sales. And many people were not outraged. They understood, okay, yeah, this character, he was a cool character. He had a great design, but people didn't buy the book in enough numbers, and that's why the character basically wound up in a place called limbo, where they're around, but most people don't know what they're doing. And sometimes what publishers will do, like a character like Richard Rider in the 70s, is put that character on a shelf for a while and just let that character go on about their business and have them in the background. They won't tell any stories with the character, but they won't do anything with that character. But Kamala Kahn, as I see it, got way more opportunities than white male Richard Rider. I mean, she got, what, four or five reboots back to back, and after getting 4 or 5 reboots, the character was then placed in the background of The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, this is a downgrade from a publisher's perspective, because to go from carrying your own book to being a supporting character in somebody else's comic, that is a major downgrade, and that's a downgrade that shows that the audience really isn't interested in this character, but editorial is trying to give this character a second, or as in the case of Kamala Kahn, a 7th chance, and that 7th chance is an opportunity to try to improve a character that has not gone over. Now, personally, as a publisher, I see the Kamala Kahn character as creatively totaled, and the character is creatively totaled because there's no real substance to the character. There's no tragedy to define her mission as a hero. She basically comes across as somebody who, like Incrediboy in The Incredibles, who admired Mr. Incredible and wanted powers like Mr. Incredible. And again, she went out here, got some Terrigen Mist, got some powers as related to embiggening her hands, and that's not really something that appeals to readers. And it wasn't really something that really made you connect with her as related to her powers, and her personality had not been really fully developed. And that was one of the reasons why the Kamala Kahn character struggled as related to her 5 ongoing series, because she has no real mission for being a hero like Peter Parker did with the tragedy of Uncle Ben. This is the thing that motivates him to go out here and be Spider-Man, because he doesn't want anybody to suffer a loss the same way that when he lost his Uncle Ben by being irresponsible and blowing off his responsibility to stop that burglar. And the same thing is with Bruce Wayne. He doesn't want anybody else to suffer the way that he did by losing his parents. And in the case of Superman, he wants to present an example of good to everyone as related to him going out here and using his powers responsibly. He wants to share his powers with everybody and do good. But with Kamala Khan, we don't have that mission. We don't have that motivation. And that's why nobody cared about the Kamala Khan character outside of these social justice warriors. These social justice warriors only care about Kamala Khan not because of the substance of her stories, but they only care about her because they can virtue signal and say they are supporting the Pakistani Muslim character, and they want to say, I'm supporting this Pakistani Muslim character and representation with words on Twitter. But with their actions, they have no support for this character, because we don't see any of these rainbow-haired social justice warriors heading over to the comic shops like Midtown Comics here in New York or Forbidden Planet to go buy Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel comics, because if that was the case, all of those people on Twitter would have been able to make the sales of Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel books go up to the point where we would be in the 100 or 130th issue of Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel, and that's where we would be. And Kamala Khan's character would be so popular, we would have people anticipating picking up the next issue. But Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel did not sell like that. No, she barely sells 4,000 copies, and here in New York City, 4,000 people isn't even a building in the Webster houses here in New York City. So you have all of these social justice warriors who are on social media who talk with their mouth but don't spend a single dime. And again, these people want to get upset about the death of Kamala Khan, which is just something that editorial does with characters and have been doing this for over 30 years. I mean, I have been reading comics for over 30 years, and oftentimes they will take characters who are struggling, and what they will do is try to find a way to repackage those characters, and that's what I believe is happening with Kamala Khan. Because again, there's 2 directions a character can go in as related to superheroes. One, they can go out here and try to repackage this character and try to give them a new power set and try to give them a new mission, which is what is called a revamp. Or 2, they can send that character to a place that is called in the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, whereabouts and activities unknown. And in the place of whereabouts and activities are unknown, a character is basically put on the shelf for an extended period of time. And if the character is somebody that no creator can really work with, that character can remain on the shelf in the background of the Marvel Universe for decades at a time, the way Bucky was on the shelf as a dead character, until some creator like Brubaker comes along and revamps a character like Bucky into the Winter Soldier. That is the fate of a character as related to whereabouts and activities or unknown or dead. And again, whereabouts and activities unknown or dead is a place that characters wind up, where creators say, we got nothing for this character, and this character is either put in the ground as dead, or they are just forgotten in the background. Their story is written off, and as they're written off, they're basically forgotten, and nobody cares about them, and nobody mentions them until one creator decides to go out here and dig up this obscure character, maybe decades later. And in the case of Kamala Khan having a part in the Marvels movie, I'm thinking that Marvel is killing the Kamala Khan character, and they're killing the Kamala Khan character as they're looking to go out here and rebuild the character and repackage the character for the millionth time. And they're looking to go out here and do this because what they want to do is find a way to revamp this character who has not gotten over after 5 reboots, has not connected with the audience, in spite of millions of dollars being poured into this character on the publishing and merchandising divisions, in spite of this character having so much money poured into this character, because this character was not only out here in Marvel Comics, she was merchandised heavily in products like Marvel Legends action figures, marketed heavily in merchandise like the Marvel Rising series, and was also marketed heavily in the Avengers game, and all of that merchandising has basically flopped, and the character still is a failure. And what they want to do, I believe, is take this Inhuman character and go out here and repackage her as a mutant and try to tie her with the X-Men, since she has failed as related to connecting with the Marvel heroes. I believe that what they want to do is go out here and say that she is a mutant, and then use the X-Men's now Krakoan resurrection protocols to go out here and resurrect Kamala Khan. And they want to, once they resurrect Kamala Khan, they're going to give her a different power set. And I believe they may possibly wind up giving her a power set similar to that of Ms. Marvel as they repackage this character. And as they repackage this character, they may possibly wind up further developing her rogues gallery into something that can showcase her powers, for her new powers, far better, and because her previous set of powers really didn't lend to really good, strong challenges as related to building a rogues gallery, and most Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel books really didn't focus too much on her taking on heroes and villains and overcoming challenges. They were just basically whine fests, and that basically made the book one that wasn't appealing. So this is a chance to try to reset this character and hopefully try to get this character finally over with the audience. That's what I believe is happening with this character from a publisher's perspective. I believe what they want to do is try to use this death in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man to try to reset this character for a new first appearance in X-Men, because what I'm seeing here is a pattern with Marvel here. They're trying to put this character in A-list books in an effort to try to get this character over, and they're trying to tether her to these characters in an effort to try to make one last gasp as related to trying to make Kamala Khan a thing. But I don't really think Kamala Khan is a thing, because she's just not the Muslim superhero that many people in the Islamic community would connect with. Because I remember a comment from my blog where there was a Muslim guy who said she does not wear the hijab, she's not really practicing the values, and that's basically because the character is an avatar for Sana Amanat and not an actual character herself. So this character, yes, she has now died, and a lot of people want to say that that's racist, but no, it's really not racist, because if you are about so-called diversity and inclusion, then you have to suffer everything that superheroes in the Marvel Universe suffer, and all of the Marvel superheroes have suffered death. Basically, every character in the Marvel Universe has died at least once, and it's just Kamala Khan's turn on the death go-round that has been a part of the Marvel Universe since 1986. Since 1986, basically every character in the Marvel Universe has died at least twice. And if you look at it again, every character has basically had a death of issue. So if you've really sat down and studied the Marvel Universe, many characters have died more than once. I have seen the death of Spider-Man, I can think about at least 2 times. The death of Captain America at least 3 times, if you count in his death in the Korvac saga. The death of Tony Stark at least 4 times with the death in the Korvac saga. The death of Tony Stark as related to him faking his death, allegedly, as related to Jim Rhodes becoming War Machine, and his death in The Crossing, not to mention his death at the end of Civil War II. So Tony Stark has died 4 times, and Thor has died at least 3 or 4 times. The Vision has been torn apart at least about 3 to 5 times. I mean, every character in the Marvel Universe has died multiple times, but yet you have social justice warriors who want to say that it's racist that Kamala Kahn dies. And again, if she's supposed to be included into the Marvel Universe to represent, then she has to be an equal part of the Marvel Universe, and an equal part of the Marvel Universe is experiencing death the way every other character has experienced it. So the whole argument, oh, it's racist to kill this character, well, characters have been killed for many years in comics, and again, since 1986, every character has died and come back to life because death no longer matters in comics the way it did before 1986, and that's why longtime comic readers like myself don't get fazed when we hear about the death of Kamala Kahn. We don't get outraged because we know that this character possibly will be coming back because death is a plot device. But you have the social justice warriors getting in their feelings about the death of Kamala Kahn, a character they did not go out here and spend money to support. They want to go out here and try to virtue signal with this character, and what they're upset about is that they won't be able to upset with Sama Amanat's avatar of herself. No, they won't be able to say that they're all about representation when they were never representing anything about this character. No, they were never representing as related to heading down to the comic shop and buying this character's books. No, they weren't representing, and they talk about representation, but if you truly were representing as related to a character, you would have been at that comic shop spending your money, because that's how you show how you support a character. I mean, a lot of people say, as I've seen, they say they want certain characters, but their actions don't match their words, and that's what's been plaguing the comic book industry with these social justice types. They go out here and say, oh, we want representation, but they never represent at the comic shop the way I do. And as related to indie comics these days, I always put my money on comics I like and support creators I like. And these guys, they don't go out here and put their money on the books that they say that they are so about. And again, this is the thing that has them all upset. Oh, Kamala Kahn is dead. Well, if she was a part of 1980s or 1970s Marvel, the Kamala Kahn character wouldn't just be dead, she would have been whereabouts and activities unknown and forgotten in the annals of the Marvel Universe. Now, if you want to pick up my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, you can find that comic on Lulu in paperback by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try my first digital comic, Esteem No Good Deed, that I did with Bill Walko, you can find that comic on Kindle for 99 cents by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to try some of my other action-packed fantasy fiction, like the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spencerella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And you can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to help me be able to publish my next comic or be able to make more videos about comics, science fiction, and fantasy, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App to help me finance the next John Haynes or ISIS or E-Steam comic by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available on Kindle, E-Steam No Good Deed. The Devil's Diva scares some stick-up kids straight in this action-packed E-Steam series comic. Get E-Steam No Good Deed on Kindle for 99 cents today.